Blessings, everyone. Welcome to the Walk with Faith podcast. This is Molly Faith Kleitsch. I am here with my son, Ryan Costin, and he's going to be interviewing me today. We have been cracking up.
Yep. Trying to do the intro here and not really, she got her whole intro lined up.
He's so sweet. My son is so sweet. And, you guys, I have to say, he touched my heart a long time ago. Ryan, I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but I have to remind you of something. There was 1 year when you were in, I think it was middle school. Maybe it was elementary school. And they had you write about one of your heroes. You remember this?
I don't know.
And you mentioned me. And it touched my heart. And I'm still working on some of my shadows, like embracing I'm still working on boundaries or being okay. So for instance, being praised, like the thank yous or the receiving. And my son started it like, we have a very special guest today, the creator of this amazing podcast. And I was like, whoa, Ryan, calm down, and he's like, but Mom, and I said, I know, Ryan, but, I really am, I think I'm working on that myself is when people say things like that to me. And I said to him, this is not about me. This is about the Most High, it's all glory to him. But yes, I understand, when your child sees you in this wonderful light, thank you, Ryan, for that. And it is important to praise, to love one another. Mm-hmm. And to support one another. So for me, I was like, whoa. So thank you for that. So we were kind of laughing, you guys. So anyways, welcome to the Walk with Faith podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have Ryan take over. Thank you guys, though, for joining us. We do hope that you're having a wonderful evening. Ryan, would you take over?
Yeah. No, as she said, thank you guys for being here. And so I guess we should get straight into it. And the first thing I want to ask you is what really triggered your faith and, brought you into this lifestyle?
This lifestyle?
Yeah.
Okay. My faith.
Your spirituality and, the whole package, I guess you could say.
Okay. So it's been a really interesting, really long journey. It's not like a one size fits all, I feel like. So when I was a little girl, I was very, very shy, very introverted, very to myself. And I preferred playing by myself. And I didn't really understand why. And a lot of people wanted to play with me. But I felt better on my own. And I remember I would go out in nature. My mom, she'd say, "Where is Molly?" And she would find me outside in nature or in my room just playing. And I remember speaking with my guides, my guardian angel, and the earth spirits. And I remember when I was 7, waking up in the middle of the night. I was in my bedroom, and just at 3 o'clock in the morning, my eyes opened, and right there in front of me was my grandfather on my mother's side, who I had never met. I heard a lot about. He was highly spiritual, very loving. Man, my mom spoke so highly of him. I've read one of his poems on the channel of Crossroads Meets Ocean Rose, but he was just looking at me. And I saw him very clearly, and I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. I was just looking at him. I was 7. And I tried to tell my parents, and they didn't really say much. And then I remember when it was around that time as well that on my father's side, my grandfather passed, and it was an open casket, and everyone was mourning. They were very upset. But what was so different about me was when I looked at my grandfather who had transitioned, I almost had I had a conversation with his spirit. And it was a very lighthearted conversation, and people were looking at me like I was very strange. They were like, "Oh, it's a reaction she's having." No, I was literally having a conversation, this heartwarming conversation with my grandfather. And I didn't really understand it, but I was communicating with the deceased, with my loved ones, at a very early age. And I understand now that I really enjoyed communicating as a child. It was a very peaceful feeling with my guides and my ancestors at that age. My mom did try to communicate with me about spirituality. Am I boring you, Ryan?
No, I'm just tired from work.
My mom did. No, actually, I have a very healing frequency to my voice that can make people.
Oh yeah, I've fallen asleep in prayer a couple times.
Thanks. My mom, for many years, did want to discuss our spiritual life because it goes very far back in our lineage, but I never wanted to hear about it. It's almost like I cut myself off from it for many years until I had to be shown very clearly that it was a part of my destiny. I went through what people would call karmic lessons. I operated in a very low vibrational state for many years of my life. I did things in the past that that I am not proud of, but I decided to make positive changes in my life. And, we are not perfect. We all have a past. But as I decided to make changes in my life, people were exposed to me who was supposed to be in my life and who was not. Which was good, but there were many hard lessons I had to learn. I had to literally be sat down, and things had to be shown to me almost in the most brutal manner for me to want to make these changes. So one of the most devastating events for me was losing my father. He was like my best friend, and I remember I had to forgive myself for this. This was very hard for me, and I almost get emotional talking about this. So, I remember he called me, and I was going through something. I think I was going through like a breakup at the time. So this was like 2008. So I was early 20s, and so had an attitude problem at the time. I would say operating in my shadow, for sure. Operating in my shadow, not in the light at all, thinking in the most selfish manner. And my dad called me, and he needed something from me, and I got into an argument with him, and turned off my phone. And the next day I turned on my phone, and I had all these messages. And my dad had an overdose from the fentanyl patch. So the doctor prescribed him medication, and the medication, the patch, because he had been sober for a really long time, but they had given him a patch, and I guess the dose was too much. Because he went from having no medicine to having the patch. I don't know why you would do that. I almost feel like that was a generational cycle that had to be broken in our lineage, and I'll get into that shortly. But what was really sad about this situation was, like, the last conversation I had with my dad was an argument. And then I get a phone call from my mom saying that my dad had a heart attack and a stroke, and he was in a coma in the hospital. And I remember rushing from down in San Diego all the way up to the hospital in North County, San Diego. And I stayed with him and prayed for him, prayed and prayed that he would make it. And unfortunately, he did not. So that was something for many, many, many years. I had to pray for forgiveness and forgive myself. And by the grace of God, I have. And my Father is with me. In spirit, He is with us. But that was very difficult. And so, yes, both my parents are gone. My grandmother, all of my grandparents on both sides have transitioned. They are with us in spirit. I feel them very heavily with us, which is so amazing. Very close to them. And I'm grateful for that. I think the only thing I miss is having them here physically, you know? But, you know, what I realized was that codependency is one of the things that has followed our lineage, whether it was my father having to release that because he had addictions early on in life that I didn't know about as a child, that followed him up until I was a young adult, until it took him, right? Both of Nana and Papa owned hair salons. They were stylists. And they had really good lives. But unfortunately, that chain that was attached to him, because he was not prayerful, because he didn't, whatever that was, that kingdom of darkness, that attachment, it took him. And so, then later in life, I got, what's really interesting is during that very traumatic part of my life, I met my spouse, my second spouse, not your wonderful father. Your father is amazing. Mm-hmm. You have a great dad.
Yeah.
And we are so blessed for that.
Mm-hmm. Like
that literally is a gift. Like I'm just going to say that. You just went to Europe with your father, yeah. And that whole side of the family. And I'm gonna say this is the difference. They're very devoted to the Most High.
Yeah.
And he is a wonderful father to you.
Yeah. In our household, we're very open, and literally you walk around every corner in the house, and you see something related to it. And it's the same thing at my father's too, but I guess it's not as extreme, I guess you could call it, but it's nice having
both sides of your family,
both sides of my family being faithful and just loving and caring. So
yeah, and so I love that, but so I feel very blessed that you have two parents that are obedient and devoted to the Most High. But during that most vulnerable time is when I was spotted by a man who later became my husband. And this individual was a very wounded individual. Okay? Now, I'm not placing blame on this person because I myself was in a very wounded state. And my mom was alive at the time. And what's interesting, though, is my higher self told me to run. It took 2 years to get into this relationship. I ran from this person, and my nervous system was telling me something. Even the day we got married, I was sweating. Like, I didn't want to do it. But my mom said, no one's going to love you the way this man's going to love you. He's going to take good care of you. I should have listened to my higher self and my guides. And the Most High. But I didn't. Because my dad had just passed. This man was always there. But little did I know that this man was a narcissist, was an alcoholic, and had a sexual addiction, which later I found out about. I'm not really sure if he originally had it, but I think later on he did. I'm really not sure. And I really don't care at this point because it's the past. But it was more about my learning. Okay? And I don't want to get too much into that relationship, but what I realized that I had to learn in that relationship is my own lessons about abandonment issues, people pleasing, that I was living a life that was empty, that was false. It was a shell of a life. There was no joy, there was no happiness. It was all material. And the way the Most High showed me this was different illnesses, accidents, different things happening to me that he does allow everything to happen for our highest good. It's not to us, it's for us. I had to see what I was involved in. You know, I was volunteering in your school, Ryan. I was trying to be the best wife and mother, and I was trying to evolve and change my life. Not saying that, you know, I was perfect. I wasn't. But, you know, I know that I got in that accident and was rear-ended with you in the car, and by the grace of God, you were good. But I was hurt. And during that period of time, I suffered a lot. I had to go through my own withdrawal because I was on medication. I remember talking to my higher self at the time, because this is before I got really deep into prayer. And I said, you know what? This is not a life. I would rather suffer and be in pain than take any more medication. I don't want to do this anymore. Because they wanted to fuse my SI joint, which is the joint that connects to the hip. It's like the lowest joint. And then after that, once I made that choice, my doctor brought to my attention these radio frequency ablations, which are almost like Allen wrenches that go into the joint and electrocute the nerve. You have to be awake for it. It's not fun. It hurts. And that helped. I did that a couple times.
I mean, it's better than not being able to walk the same. So
yeah, because what they said, fusing the joint, I would never walk the same.
yeah.
And then I had my neck fused, and I was always in a lot of pain. There was also abuse starting in the home. I was also blamed for the car accident when I didn't hit us, you know. There was just things being exposed to me over time that I saw, but I didn't want to see, right? And it was interesting because, like, I would get a little bit better, but then something else would happen. And I remember we left, right before we left San Diego, you had a friend, she had a mother that would like come to the house, and she would walk by our house every night. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. She almost had like this obsession with our family. And I remember one night I was upstairs and the doorbell rang, and my ex went and answered the door. And there was like an argument. And he wouldn't let me talk to her. And when I look back, I remember they would have these secret conversations in like the backyard, you know? So there were things that I just didn't want to see, but the Most High wanted me to see things. So things just kind of got worse. We left down in San Diego and we moved up to North County. When we moved up to North County, things were really exposed to me. The drinking from my ex got more intense. Fighting got worse. But it was almost like I tried to please him even more. I was like, well, maybe if I make these changes, it'll be better. See, that's where I needed to love myself, but I wasn't ready. See, this is where growth and evolution and development come in. So this is many years ago. This was, oh my gosh, 2016. Wow. My higher self tells me, my guides tell me something. They give me a tip. Okay, check Apple. Find my iPhone. And it was exposed to me. He was at a massage parlor. This is where it was exposed to me that he was going to these massage parlors and committing infidelity. Okay. I had told him that if he ever committed infidelity, I would leave him. And I'm not going to get too much into this because I really don't want to just talk about the past too much, okay? But I am going to say this. I had an opportunity to stick to my word and leave several times. I didn't leave that time. I caved. And we moved from that house into an even fancier, bigger home. And on the outside, everything looked perfect. We had cars, we had the home, we had the biggest Christmas tree. Everyone had what they wanted. But here's the thing. What happened to me next was a rude awakening. I got so sick. I got to the point where I thought I was literally dying. I was throwing up blood. I had tremors. I was losing my hair. There was mold in this house. I mean, it wasn't like a ton of mold, but it was like everyone else was fine except for me. I had like a gas mask on. I couldn't eat. I was throwing up. I had colonoscopies, endoscopies. I was getting those immunotherapy shots. They wanted to put tubes in my ears because I couldn't hear. They wanted to break my nose, but yet the doctors couldn't even prove that this is what it was. If my ears would open up or my sinuses would be better. Right? Yeah. They did say I was allergic to mold, yes. But, it was interesting because the house had negative energy in it. I realized that when I went to go see a healer. Confirmation.
Yeah.
So I went to go see a healer, and this healer did past life regression with me. She told me to start doing these positive affirmations, literally talking to the Most High, calling in His energy, and meditating. And when I started doing that, oh, did it cause an uproar in the house. I don't know if you remember that time where he got so angry and the glass broke.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I almost felt like we were in like the Shining hotel. You're laughing. It's true. That's what I felt like. I felt like we were in the Shining. Like a demonic energy had like taken him over.
Yeah.
At that point, I had convinced him to leave that house. Because I remember seeing like these creepy scratches on the inside of the door. There was that weird dollhouse in the back. The energy was just really bad, and I was so sick there. I wanted to leave. We left and we moved to another home that was smaller. Things didn't really get better. So at that point, we move into this home and it's really nice, but it doesn't get much better. At this point, though, I'm tapping more into my spiritual side. It starts waking up. But I would still say I'm still in my shadow, right? But I am starting to wake up. And I have discussed with my ex about going to this place called Sedona Soul Adventures to try and help our relationship. I know you remember that. And we go, and that's
beautiful out there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I even brought you out there. Yeah. He decides to go. We go and we do a bunch of different sessions. And one of the healers who does energy work with a pendulum, and she's able to remove negative energy, and she looks at me and she goes, I don't know how you're laying here and you're functioning. There's so much negative energy inside of you. And we did breath work, we did therapy. But what was interesting, like, you have to really want to do the work. I really wanted it, you know? But the minute we got home, he left, he went out of town, and he still continued to act like he wasn't even married. And I was there with you. But things still started to get worse. I remember I started getting attacked by these creatures. And I was the only one getting attacked. And I was still getting sick. And that's when my higher self, my guides were telling me, you need to do a cleanse and you need to go get a reading from somebody who knows what they're doing. Oh, let me go back. I did do a bath. I did do a cleanse when we were at that other house. And it helped, but not all the way.
It's like you're slapping a Band-Aid.
Well, no, it was removing it, but there was more. There was more. It was cleansing it, yes, but there was so much more on me that it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Because I was like under full spiritual attack, and I did not know. So like the affirmations, the prayers, the one cleanse, it just was not enough. That's why the power... We have to be diligent. We have to be so diligent, and we have to be prayerful, and we have to connect. We have to open our eyes. It is very important. And when people say that we manifest these things, you can't manifest what you don't know exists. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I had no clue until my guides and the Most High straight up just like told me. Because like I had gone to doctors for years. I was on doctors' tables. I was poked and prodded. I felt like an experiment. It was so painful. I was so sick. It was awful. And finally, I remember a botanica. When I lived down in San Diego in an apartment, I remember there was a botanica. And that's the one that they said, that's where you need to go. So I called. I said, I need a reading, please, with the priestess there. That priestess just so happened later to become my godmother. She's no longer my godmother, but this woman did save my life. And I go, and the first thing I say to her is, I think somebody's put a curse on my life. And she says, shh, don't tell me anything. We're going to let the spirits, the divine, speak. She said, do you want cards or do you want shells? My guide said shells. I said, okay. So I don't know what shells were, but I listened to my guides. That was the guidance that they told me. Shells are when the orishas, the angels, and your ancestors, the divine, speaks. Mm-hmm. So And everything is documented, everything is written, everything is there. Sure enough, what came out was there was a curse over my life. It was like somebody had, well, it was that somebody sent the spirit of Iku. What Iku is what people would understand as the Grim Reaper, okay, after me. And I was guided to do many different things to remove the spirit of death. That's what it is, the spirit of death off of me. So I had to do many different things. I had to do head cleanses, white baths, other baths. I had to do another form of a cleanse. But what was most crucial that I immediately did was build a boveda to the enlightened spirits, the Most High, my ancestors, and my personal spirit team. We all have a personal team of guides. And I started praying that night. And I immediately started to heal. And I couldn't wear dark colors. There was just a lot of guidance that they gave me, and it truly did save my life. So I know you're tired, honey. It's okay. I know you were up very early. So was I. So I asked her though, because I didn't have knowledge on this. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, you bind or you return to sender. I said, what do we do? Like, do we have to bind? Do we have to do something? She said, no, Molly, you don't do anything. She said, all you do is you continue to pray. Pray every day. You cleanse and you pray. And if anyone tries anything, your spirits will handle it. And I said, okay, that's what I will do. You pray to God. So I did. But over time, through divination, through guidance, I was guided to make Santo. And that not everyone makes Santo, which means saint, priestess, gets crowned, okay? This is through many different sacred, old school ceremonies, okay? It's not for everyone. There is a misconception about this. These are guardian angels, okay? And there is one God, the Most High God, that we pray to. But people fear what they do not know. But for my own life, because I was under attack, for my own protection, I needed to make Santo. And this was something that the Most High wanted me to do. And for the protection of my child, because the individual that I was with, I didn't realize that the journey I was going to go down was going to trigger some really dark energies that were going to surround me later in life. So as I went down my spiritual journey and I started praying more and more, what happened was people started to be removed out of my life, including my ex. It caused a lot of arguments. It was not pretty because we pray for our life to be aligned, to progress, to have peace, harmony, to ascend, right? To live our highest and greatest good for our greatest timeline. I would cleanse the home. I would pray. And the comments that he would make, or I don't know why you would burn that SHIT, because it doesn't even effing work. He would say, I don't believe in God. I believe in, and he would state his name. And at that point, when he said that to me, and it got so dark and nasty in that home, I looked at him and I threw my hands up and I knew he had to go. We could no longer be together because he had become so wicked. The comments he was making, that was the last straw, really. He told me that he didn't believe in God. He believed in himself, and that I should appreciate the abuse and the life that he's bestowed upon me. And that he would make sure that I suffered. He would do everything in his power to make sure that I suffered. And this was all because I decided to choose the Most High, my spiritual journey, prayer, and cleansing the negative spirits out of my life and ascending. And he didn't like it. So it's amazing when you choose yourself and not people pleasing. And you choose the light and to let God in, how it truly does trigger the darkness. The second time, yes, we did leave Ryan. When I started on the spiritual journey, we did leave. We ended up going back into the house, and I let him back. And that's when things got worse. When we went back to San Diego, he was actually removed from our life.
Oh, yeah.
They removed him.
Mm-hmm.
Our guides and the Most High removed him because that's what was interesting. They removed him from the house. And they protected us. That's why we have to allow things to be removed from our life. Now, there was a lot of stalking going on. There was a lot of nastiness going on. And we went through, a lot of court battles. I'll never, when we left San Diego and went to our apartment, I'll never forget that. That's like one of the most beautiful things. When you said, when we were battling in court, and we had that, because we had a business together. Alegwa said to me and my ex, you guys are going to be able to have a business, and you're going to have a business partner. Do it. It's going to be a blessing. See, what my ex didn't know is that was a test for him. And what I had to realize was to let things go. Release. Even though there was a fear of abandonment, let it go. Because it was tainted by the devil, the kingdom of darkness. Blessing turned into something dark. But see, we had a commercial flooring company that had a lot of money. But what he was doing is he was hiding money from me. He was writing personal checks, taking money. He was just taking it. That's fine. Take it. I don't want it. I let it go. Mm-hmm. We started over, right? Because it wasn't about the money. It was about safety, peace, love, and our emotional well-being. And so what I was getting at was when we were going through all that and we were losing everything, right, in court, and no one was defending us because it seemed like every attorney just so happened to be getting paid or just not talking to us. And, things are corrupt, and that's okay. You said, Mom, why don't you do something? Why don't you defend us, protect us? Do something. And I know what you meant. I know you were saying spiritually. You wanted me to do something. And I looked at you and I said, Ryan, I am doing something. I'm doing it by praying. Mm-hmm. I'm praying for peace. I'm praying for everyone to be blessed. I'm praying for us to be safe. And when you pray for us to be protected, to be removed from all that poison, and for everyone to always be blessed and to be surrounded by God's army, that is protecting us. Yeah. And what happened was, God, let me explain something. No one is exempt from karma. Everyone is being watched. It's being recorded. The Most High saw, even in the darkest days. I'm going to get emotional. Sorry.
No, take your time.
Even in the darkest days, when our tires were being slashed, and you called me and you were spinning on the freeway, and we were losing everything. He's watching as I'm praying for blessings upon the whole human race and for us to be watched over and protected. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Not to return to sender, not to hurt someone. No. Because that's a wounded individual who could do that. That is somebody who is ill. Why on earth? Like, no. That person needs healing. They need help. They don't need more pain. So why would I send more pain? No, they need help. They need the light. They need the Holy Spirit. That's what we do. So God's like watching. He's watching all of us. So, you know, we've had our journeys. We made it out of San Diego to Laguna Beach to La Quinta. Man, have I had my share of, as people would call, karmics. I've had people try and catfish me. I've had narcissistic people enter my life, and that's another thing where, you know, the empath meets the narcissist, you know, and we try to help them, and that's where boundaries come in, you know, or people who try and slander our name. A lot of lies. I think that's truly why I love just being in hermit mode. I choose peace over anything. I really do. I just want my peace. And, but making it a way, even without the business, even without that business, making it a way in one piece, when we all made it here, especially to Texas, man, was the greatest blessing, you know?
Yeah.
So now at this point, you know, but we got out of San Diego and we got to Laguna Beach, which was beautiful. But, you know, what was very interesting was in 2021, so during that period of time that he was removed, I'm going to go back. During that period of time, so like 2018-19, I was going through different ceremonies, right? Till 2021. And that's when I was crowned. I made Santo. And that was the year my mom passed. So once you make Santo, you're basically, it's a year of isolation. Away from everyone, away from physical contact, because it's like it's a major transfer of energy. You're a yawo, you're a baby. So it is now going to be 2025, but they say a year of isolation. But what was interesting was after everything we went through, I feel like the Most High really wanted us in isolation to work on our business, to work on our spiritual development, to work on growth, just everything for a lot longer, you know? I really did enjoy the solitude because I worked on transmutation, alchemy, study, connecting, meditation, prayer. I will never get tired of saying prayer. I think prayer is the most healing, therapeutic things that you could ever do in your life. Also, receiving downloads of different spiritual baths that the Most High was giving me, different healing baths, and just spending time with my kid and my animals, and making it out to Texas finally. Mm-hmm. Our best friend is out here in Texas, which is fantastic. We have had to go through a lot. I have had to go through a lot to wake up to who I am, I feel like. So now that we're here in Texas, along with transmuting energy, along with building the business, we have been blessed with a lot of beautiful things. And I've noticed releasing the past through through accepting the calling, right? Waking up to who you are, not fighting it, accepting it, standing in your power, and awakening to who you are, releasing the past, letting it go, addressing the shadow, ascending, and making those necessary healing changes. Really beautiful blessings come in. One thing that I really decided to do too is follow my passions in dreams, and follow guidance. I really truly believe in following the guidance of the Most High, what He tells me to do. People may not understand it, but what He tells me, I do.
Yeah, because I know you mentioned before that the Most High and your guides and everybody told you that you had to, work and do something with your hands.
Correct.
And I know that you went into jewelry, which, you really love doing. That's incorporated into our business. But you also do, these readings online to help the collective, which is really amazing. Can you, explore more into that?
It's so interesting you're saying this because it's so much bigger now that I've been thinking about it. Because I remember when I got that message, because it's so funny talk. So when I got that message, I was like, well, my parents owned a salon. Maybe I'm supposed to do hair. But no, that's not what I was supposed to do. Okay, our hands, right? So my hands in particular, and a lot of hands, like healers, we have energy in our hands, right? Mm-hmm. But the ashe of the orishas as well, and the light of the Holy Spirit, it's multiple things I do with my hands. I put a lot of, so holy water, prayer, ashe in the jewelry, a lot of love, like so much love, joy goes into the jewelry that I create. A lot of cleansing. So that's why I always send Palo Santo, because it's very high frequency. So I have people cleanse. It's very protective as well.
Yeah, that's what I remember you saying it too, that, sage cleanses the area, removes everything, but Palo Santo brings in those good spirits.
It actually does. Well, Palo means stick, earth, right? Santo, saint.
Yeah.
So, Santo. I made Santo saint, yeah. So it does this. So a lot of times, what you want to do. So like, let's say you burn copal incense. It's very peppery, bitter. You want to burn something sweet. Bring in the sweetness as well. These are little tips, but
tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks, yeah. But also, doing the readings. Is so interesting because when I'm doing the readings, I'm pulling the cards, but I'm in communication. I'm in communication with my guides and the divine, the Most High. So, they'll give me cards and I'm like, okay, so tell me what you want me to say, so it's like I open my mouth. I'm like this vessel. So like I'll see things. Or I'm literally in communication with my guides, seeing things or hearing songs, or sometimes I'll even feel like if somebody has, it was so interesting. I did a reading for somebody and all of a sudden my ears started getting itchy and clogged and my sinuses. And it was so cute because she mentioned she was suffering from like a sinus issue. So it's like that intuitive connection, So whether it has to do with delivering the messages for the collective that I can help, and I am not perfect. I do the best I can, and I can only give the messages that my guides want me to give. Yeah. I can only go that far. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. And then, or like, if I have clients that come here and I do cleansings on them, like head cleanses, that I absolutely love. That's something I've been trained on. So that's also using my hands, right? Different cleanses and stuff like that. So that's something I'm very, very grateful for. I mean, that doesn't happen very often because I'm pretty much in hermit mode. And I mean, who's really going to travel all the way to Texas to have me do that? So I'm having like one person to do that, but I'm really excited. But yeah, anything I can do to help with healing, I love doing. So that is where I'm at. But it's so interesting. It's like, when you really truly do follow what's in your heart is going to lead you, and your higher guidance, those messages, you're going to feel the nudge, you're going to get the messages. And people say downloads. Okay, for me, it's not really a download. Like I'm really getting communication all the time. Like when people say be with your guides with this, like my guides never go anywhere. Like they're always here.
Yeah. I know, they're always in your ear.
They're always here. Like if you came to the house, they're here. Yeah. I remember you came home from out of town.
Oh yeah.
And you said you walked in the house and you were like, whew. Mm-hmm. The energy.
Yeah, it's something you can't see, but you can feel that, strongly. It's, it really is mysterious and quite comforting.
You want to know what's crazy? You just said comforting. When we were in Laguna Beach, and we were in that, we were renting that cute little place underneath the fancy people's house.
Yeah.
The guy who was had to clean the place. He was really nice. Yep. He wrote me on Instagram. He was blown away. He said, Molly, when he went in to go clean, even though we had moved all this stuff out, he said he walked in. He said the energy he felt was so powerful and so calming. He said he couldn't even explain the peace that like washed over him, the energy that he felt. Yeah, it's pretty beautiful, I mean, I almost feel like the energy in itself is pretty healing. But I try to contribute the best that I can, but that's why I also feel like boundaries are very important. Yeah. We have to put them in place. But many blessings are coming in. I have to be very discerning, very careful of who come back into our lives, because I already can see what's happening. And I know it's happening on a big level. So I'm trying to do the best that I can to help people.
And, what, using these gifts that you have, how do you want to do that to help people, not just as you are now, but, down the line? What do you want to do to really have your influence make it better in the world and other people's lives?
I know there's a lot I want to do. There's actually a lot I want to do. I want to travel at some point to help in different areas of the world. Ray, there's a lot that goes through my mind. I'm really not sure right now what the Most High wants me to do, where He wants me to take this, but I know bringing many soul family members together that have been separate. I know all of us coming together, co-creating as one of them. Whether we meet, I think meeting in person would be really beautiful. I think that's going to be like something that's going to come into fruition. Mm-hmm. That's going to be very powerful, because I think that we're all different, but yet all the same. Yeah. Because we're all connected. We all have gifts and talents that we're going to be able to utilize and help the planet together. So I don't know what he has next for me. I know that there's a lot of things flowing, moving. Um, so I've literally surrendered that to him. And I'm just waiting for his next message.
Yeah.
I'm going to just keep going. Because I actually said that to him last night when I was talking to him. I was like, what do you want me to do? Like, do you want me to keep doing this? Do you want me to do something different? Like, what? Because if he said, Molly, stop, I want you to do something different, I would listen to him. Because, like I said, I listen to him. Like, this is what he tells me to do. And if he says jump, I say how high. Yes, sir. So, I do know that this podcast and this live with Tamika is going to be incredible. It is. We have so much fun together.
Yeah, I noticed you, like, when you guys are doing that live together, you really, it's not so much, just talking about yourselves. You really do. I noticed in the last one too, you help people that are in the chat. You really do, do your best, both of you, to help whoever reaches out.
Right.
Which is amazing.
And I think, for us, we really love it.
Yeah.
We're soul sisters. Like, we have been guided together. We have been guided to a beautiful community. She has a beautiful family. I have a beautiful family. And we're all being guided together. But yeah, we have a good time. And so we have a lot of different knowledge that we can share. And it's something we enjoy. I think, and that's where I'm getting back to. It's about doing things that you enjoy. It's not about, I want to go back. Okay, I was talking about the material. It was empty. There was no joy there. I was sick. I left it all. And I wanted to. I had to. It was tainted.
Mm-hmm.
But what did I find? Peace. I found joy. I found love. The feeling, I can't describe the feeling that I feel now that I had never felt before. The feeling of peace that washes over me, the feeling of love, the feeling of fulfillment. It was so cute, Dr. Vanessa. I love you. I love you all. She said, I have a feeling your kingdom spouse is near. And it was so sweet of her to say that. But to be honest, I've made the decision that, like, I literally, and I've said this to you, Ryan, I'm like really content where I am. Like, loving myself. I poured so much out for so long. Now, just like being at peace and pouring into me and being content with who I am, the imperfections that I have, not trying to impress anyone, just being who I am, and, accepting the person that I am, focusing on love, my career, the Most High, my family, I love it. And anyone, I'm going to say this much, that would be like finding a needle in a giant haystack. Mm-hmm. Because anybody who would be my kingdom spouse would have to love me for all the quirks, how spiritual I am, have to be at this vibration. Because when you walk into our home, it is not a normal home. It's like all spiritual. Like, we're different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've already come to that realization. I've surrendered it. I am so content and so happy. It's truly about being just happy with where you are in life and going after your dreams and passions. I surrendered the money. I surrendered the material. I surrendered the expectations. I surrendered all of it. Just for peace for joy and for my connection to the Most High. And also, what's really important, honey, is to raise you in a really peaceful environment to be a divine masculine for your wife. Because I want you to be that next generation, and I want you to be a good husband for the divine feminine that you're going to meet. Mm-hmm. That is so important. We're breaking generational cycles here. Because if I wouldn't have gone through this, and I wouldn't have ended it, whether it was abandonment, people-pleasing, codependencies, all of these things, abuse, narcissistic relationships, or setting boundaries, and also speaking truths with love and compassion, then I wouldn't have broken it for you and your children. It's very important. So, I don't know if I'm getting off track, but this is very important because I want you to be the next generation and be like this with your wife. I'm looking forward to that day when you find that partner when you're ready. Mm-hmm. You know, and now I'm getting off of me onto you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Anyways. Thanks, Mom. You're welcome.
Is there anything that, like, any guidance you can give, to the people that you think would help them if they're having any hard times, or just need any type of guidance, anything you can give them?
Yes. Okay. Any guidance? Do not give up. No matter what. Keep going, okay? Times are going to be hard. Nothing is easy, okay? There are going to be moments where you're going to get in your head, okay? And you're going to think, I can't do this. What am I doing? What am I thinking? No, you can. You absolutely can. You're capable, okay? And if you think no one cares, yes, they do. Please don't give up. Please keep going, no matter what you're faced with. Please remember that everything truly is happening for your highest and greatest good. It's to realign you on your right path. I have been through every type. I know I didn't get fully into detail, but I have been through every type of pain. I've had my pinky chopped off in a door. Brutally. Okay? Chopped in half. I've had my toe crushed by a giant speedboat. I've been through all different forms of pain. When it comes to deaths in the family, material losses, which really, bless you, puppy, emotional, physical, all forms of losses, okay? Trust me, it's to realign you. You can do it. Please do not ever lose faith. Do not ever lose hope. Keep going. We have been through so much. I have been through so much on my journey. Also, on a spiritual level, it takes not just your spirit team asking for them to do something and the Most High, but it also takes us on this 3D realm, due diligence, cleansing. We have to take the initiative to do the work, okay? Please cleanse yourself, protect yourself, stay prayed up. The power of prayer along with cleanses. But we have to want to do it. We have to stay consistent. Please don't operate in fear no matter what. Do not lose hope, because you are capable of accomplishing anything that you want. You are capable. Don't ever lose hope, okay? No matter how dark things may seem to be. Sometimes in the darkest moments is the time that you will see the brightest light. And those dark nights of the soul can be excruciating, but that's when you can let the light in, okay? So Be diligent about your cleanses. Be diligent about your prayer. And don't let the negative thinking creep in. Also, words are very, very powerful. Speak life and love into your reality and into the reality of others. Okay? Words hold power. Don't speak negativity, speak positivity, okay? So that is my guidance for now. Oh, and also, if you can, please set boundaries and remove yourself from all manipulation and negativity. Don't allow people to gaslight and make you feel guilty for anything. The past is gone. People from the past who have tried to hurt you, I don't let people from the past who have hurt me come back and try to manipulate me again. Absolutely not. That's just my advice to you. You can, that's up to you. Everyone has a choice, okay? Do what feels good in your heart and your soul. What really brings you peace and happiness, okay? Not what hurts you. Don't do things that hurt you, and dim your light. Oh, and also keep shining. Don't let anybody dim your light, guys. Keep shining brightly, okay? Because your light is beautiful, and you're very much loved. All right. So that's my guidance. I don't know if I was babbling too much.
No, you're fine. All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's, hard to get that out there.
It was pretty condensed.
Yeah.
That was a pretty condensed story.
Say, yeah.
It's only a little bit over an hour, but there's a lot more. Oh, someone asked me to share about Santo. I'm just gonna say with Santo, it's just many different ceremonies. That's gonna be for another day, okay? But all right, go on.
Yeah. And well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyways. I don't know what to say at this point. I guess I'm going to pass it back to my mom here to do our outro because I don't know if I could properly do it, so.
You're wonderful. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for interviewing me. I know you've had a long day. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We don't want to make it too long. We'll have to do another one. So we really are grateful that you're spending time with us, sending you so much love and gratitude. Have a wonderful evening, and we always pray that you're surrounded by the Most High God's love, protection, and blessings. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.